Hey everybody, my name is David Slibelberg and I'm the head of the training department here at PracticePanther.com, and today we're going to be covering anything and everything dealing with calendaring. So mostly we're going to be talking about tasks, events, and everything we can do with them. To start, I just created a fake matter here for John Books called Estate Planning, and from within this matter, we can see all activities in the activities tab here, and they will be here once we save some of them, but it's basically all of our tasks, all of our events, calls, emails, and notes. They'll all get stored together here in the activities tab, and because we're in the matter, it's only going to show us the information and activities, tasks, and events specific to just this one matter. To start off, you can either use the new button within the activities tab here to create a task or an event, or what I like to do within the matter is actually live off of this green new button up here, because it doesn't matter what tab we're inside of, but if we're in the matter, we can create pretty much anything we need for this case. I'm going to go ahead and start by creating a new task right here. And these tasks are basically just your reminders for your day-to-day operations. So everything that you want to make sure gets done for a specific case or a client will get done, even if it's something to do with around the office or anything at all. It's really the sky's the limit. So to start off, usually when you're making a new case here, a lot of attorneys like to get their retainer. So this is a good initial one. So we'll see something like already have it filled out there, get the retainer agreement signed. Okay. And you'll go ahead and pick what due date you want this to be done on. We'll just say today. And if you have any additional steps or information you want to make sure you or anyone assigned to this task is aware of, you can go ahead and leave that in the description here. We also have amazing reminders. You can have these reminders. You can actually have up to 5 of these reminders for every task and every event, up to you. And they can be either email, pop-up, or even get sent direct text messages to your phone or whoever's assigned. These reminders can go minutes, hours, or days ahead of time. And please note that while there is no due date time on this task, on the back end, the due date is set for noon. So if you, let's say, have a 10-minute reminder like this, that reminder will come out at 11:50 a.m. Now, again, all these reminders are going to go to all the users and clients that you assign down here in the Assign To section. You can assign other users by simply clicking into this drop box and picking one of the other users. You can have more than one person assigned at a time if you need, just to make sure nothing gets left behind or slips through the cracks. And this contact section down here is really handy because you can actually go ahead and invite your client directly to any given task or event that you want over the client portal. Now, you have to first invite them to the client portal, which I already did for John in this case. So I can go ahead and assign this to John because I want to make sure he signs this retainer agreement. Now, that is ultimately how you're going to control whether or not a client in the client portal is going to see any of these items, really. They aren't going to see everything that you're putting into this case, but if you assign them to the task or assign them to the event, they will get an email notification and be notified if this email assignees option is turned on to yes. You don't have to email. This also goes out to anyone else that's assigned. You don't have to do this email. It's up to you. Just make sure everyone's on the same page and notified. I usually recommend putting it on. Finally, we also have the ability to tag our tasks and events. And if you're not familiar with our tagging, we already have this feature for our contacts and our cases, but we also have it for these tasks and events, which gives you the ability to categorize these tasks using any criteria that you want, whether it's the type of activity that it is. In this case, it's based off the retainer. You can have multiple tags as well. Maybe you want to track the stage that the task is in or the type of client that it's for. But I'll show you how to use those tags more in just a second. For now, I'm just going to hit save. This is where, like I said before, all the tasks and events are going to be stored here in the Activities tab, and this is what the list is going to look like. Right now, this task is not complete, and it will not be completed until we hover over the task and hit the completed button like this. If I didn't complete this task by this due date, the bubble, instead of being yellow or green, it would actually turn red and say overdue and be ugly, and we're trying not to have any of that. So you won't have to worry too much. You're not going to have too many overdue things since you're using PracticePanther. You'll be getting everything done as soon as possible. And you can also use any of these tabs here found on the top to actually narrow down this list of activities to just what you want to see. So if we're seeing the entire list of activities, but we just want to see our tasks, we can see just our tasks that have a status of not completed, for example, if you want to see what still has to be done, assigned to certain people, created by certain people, or using any of the activity tags that we tagged the task with, or even any tags for matters or context as well. And of course, what due date range they fall into. So you have a lot of control over deciding what you see on this list there, and by using the Choose Columns button found here. This is also found on the top right of every list in PracticePanther, and when you click on it, it'll give you the actual options of which columns do you want to see. The one that I want to point out here is the time logged one, which is probably turned off for you by default unless you turn it on yourself like this. But the time logged column is going to be extremely useful because you can actually hover over any activity, any task, any email, any call or email, anything at all, and hit the log time button right there. Yes, you can create a time entry by itself normally by hitting new time entry like this, but if we do it this way using the log time button on the actual activity, it can create a link between this task and that time entry. So we can always make sure that every task gets accounted for and timed. So I'm going to hit log time just to show you what I mean. And I'm just going to say it took an hour. We can see that it already pulled in the name of that task or event directly into the description. The cool thing is if you did this off of an event that has, let's say it's 1 hour long, it'll automatically populate the hours with that 1 hour as well. I'm going to go down and hit save. And now if we go back to the activities tab, I believe, yes, we'll have to refresh it. But when we do, and we look at that activity again, we're going to see that the time logged and how much time was logged right there in the time logged column. Taking this a step further, you can actually open any task that has time logged or any event, any activity at all, and we can see in another tab the specific time entry that it's linked up to. And you can continue keeping time on it or even keep a new time entry on this activity if you're continuing to do work on it and have all the time calculated out and totaled in this column for you. So you'll always know exactly where you stand on all of your activities and nothing will be left unbilled. Now I just want to show you the differences here between a task and an event. So I'm going to go to new up here again and hit event. Now they are largely the same, very similar in a lot of how it's formatted here. But we're going to say this is a hearing, let's say. And you'll notice one of the first differences is we can actually associate a specific time to this event, start time and end time. So we get to pick exactly when this event is going to take place and for how long. So for more time-sensitive things where we actually have to worry about what time it's done, like a hearing or a meeting, or even a document you want drafted specifically at 4 p.m. on Friday, you'll be able to use an event best for that. Again, you can go ahead and keep a description or additional information here. You can again have reminders up to 5, just like our tasks. And again, those reminders will go out to all the attendees assigned, including your client, if you invite your client to it. One other difference you might have noticed here is we can actually color code these events as well. So I'm going to make this hearing purple, and we're going to be able to see what that looks like on the calendar later on. And I'm going to save. I'm going to change this filter from tasks to all activities so we can see everything. And one interesting thing here I want to note is that this hearing is already completed. So what's worth noting here is that as soon as the end date is in the past, then you're going to be able to, or rather the event is automatically going to complete itself. You won't have to go ahead and tell it to change because it knows that it already took place. You can still log time the same way, right here by hovering over and hitting log time to create a time entry out of it. And that time frame of how long the event is will auto-populate into the time entry for you. One last thing that's really cool, when we do another event, if there's an event already taking place at the specific time for that specific user that you have assigned, you're going to have a conflict right here pop up and let you know for every event that you already have taking place at that exact time. Now, this isn't going to stop you from creating any additional event. It's going to let you do it just the same, but it is at least letting you know that you have something going on at that time that you will be double booking. To clear this up, you can either change the time to an available one, so let's say 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. I think should be available, and it goes away, or change it to a user that is available at that time, and it'll disappear just fine. I went ahead and invited our client, John Books, on the client portal to this task and this event. So I want to show you what that's going to look like for them in real time. Switching over to another window here, I have the client portal already pulled up, and I'm going to go ahead and refresh this page to have the new activities pulled in here. Now we can see that all the tasks and events that were assigned to this person are pulled in right here for them to see. And they can go and mark, well, it's incomplete now because we already completed it, but if it was a complete task, or rather an incomplete task, the client could come in here and mark it complete themselves once it's done. And when they mark it complete themselves, it'll mark it complete on your end as well. And they can also send a message to you asking for any questions that it might have about that specific task or event. Next up, I'm going to show you how to see all these things on your end in PracticePanther. One popular way is on the actual calendar itself. So we're going to hit calendar on the top there. And we have a couple of different ways of viewing this calendar. We can either do the month as it is now, view the entire week, just the day that we're interested in, or an entire agenda where it kind of breaks it down to you in a list view for that week. Back on the month view, we're going to be able to see the two different colors that we have right now for events. We have blue events from before, and then we have a purple event for later today or for earlier today right here. And this was me when I chose that purple color on this event earlier in the video. On the left, we're going to see the word calendars, and you can shrink this and show it, but this is going to give you the option of viewing other users' calendars on PracticePanther. So you'll be able to see what events they are assigned to. To do that, just hover over their little checkbox next to their name and check it off. If there are any events, like we have this red one here, set up mediation on the 3rd, you'll be able to see it for that user. And you'll also notice as soon as we added more than one user to this calendar, so that we're viewing more than one user, the colors changed. Each user, when this multi-user view is enabled, has their own designated calendar color. For David here, we have this light blue, and for Thomas, we have this red. So we can easily, quickly see exactly which events belong to who. If a user is unhappy with their specific color, anyone can always come into this page and hit the little gear sign and change that color to whatever else they'd like. Let's say green, for example. Save. And there we go. Now, let's say you don't want to use this big picture calendar, but you want to get a quick list of different tasks or different events or anything else. Your best bet would be to actually go to the Activities tab up here on the top. While the calendar is great for using the visibility of those colors, the Activities tab is great for using and utilizing these tags that we created earlier. So if I just wanted to see all my events or tasks dealing with that retainer, I can use these tags here. I'm going to show my tasks with that retainer tag, and here it is. I can also use this page using any of the other filters that we saw before up here in the top as well. So you get a lot of control over exactly what type of activities you would like to see right now. This is probably the easiest way to quickly see if any individual user is falling behind on some of their work by simply taking the tasks, picking a person, let's say Thomas, and we're going to see if there's anything not completed. No, Thomas has been pretty good. But if there was any overdue tasks not completed, it would show right here. Actually, this was with the tag turned on. So let's turn that off and see if there's anything. I see he's been hiding. We have 7 tasks here, incomplete. So he's a little bit overdue in some of these other areas. So this is an easy way for me to tell who in my firm is being unproductive or who can be more productive. And if they are complete, we can also use that column on the side to see which events have time logged for them or not. So we can see if there's any missing time entries or missing money that we could be billing for. Now, one really cool thing about our calendar in PracticePanther is that we can have it set to integrate with our personal calendar if we're using Exchange with Office 365 and Outlook, or if we're using Gmail. Both of them have a two-way sync with PracticePanther's calendar, allowing you to create events in Gmail or in Exchange and have those events pull into PracticePanther, and vice versa. You can create events in PracticePanther and have them push out to both Exchange for the Outlook and for Gmail. I personally have my calendar set up with Gmail, and to make sure yours is set up right, all you have to do is go into your settings page right here and go down to the integrations to calendar, tasks, and contacts. If you are integrated with one of them, then you should have a cancel sync button like this. If you experience any kind of issues getting your integration set up, you can always refer to our help center right up here, and we can go down here to calendar and events. Inside of calendar and events, there's a section called calendar sync, where you can find the exact sync for your specific calendar platform, and it'll instruct you on how to get it set up. But if you ever need additional help, you can always use the bubble on the bottom right to contact our support team, and we'll be happy to help you get those calendars integrated. Now, just to give you a quick idea of what to actually expect when you have Gmail or Exchange synced up with PracticePanther, you'll be able to go into that calendar and you should see a new calendar under My Calendars called PracticePanther. And this is the event, or sorry, this is the calendar that we're actively speaking to that PracticePanther will actually sync with. We're not syncing with your personal calendar here, but with the PracticePanther calendar here. So as you're creating events in Google or in Exchange, when you're making the event, you have to make sure to place it on the PracticePanther calendar like this if you want it to come over to PracticePanther. Now, events that you place on Google or Exchange, we're only checking for new events every 30 to 40 minutes with Exchange and Google Calendar. So the events you make here won't pull over instantaneously, but every 30 or 40 minutes, we're checking for new stuff to pull in. However, when you make events over in PracticePanther, they should push out to Google or Exchange pretty instantaneously. Lastly, in Google, you would want to change to see your tasks. You have to change these reminders, hit the little hamburger options on the side, and switch it to tasks like this. When you do that, a task list is going to appear on the right side, and you want to hit the other hamburger list on the bottom right, and switch it to PracticePanther's task list so you can see everything coming from PracticePanther for your tasks as well. Also, I definitely recommend checking out our workflows feature. I'm not going to go into too much detail right now because we do have another video and article detailing exactly how to build out these workflows, but they are really amazing. What they can essentially do is create a specific task list like this for a specific type of case. In this case, I made a workflow for my divorce without kids cases. And this allows you to create a task list just for this type of case, where you can go ahead and build out every step that you want to make sure gets completed and when you want them to get completed by. So you're able to give your staff one organized workflow or list of tasks to follow every time this type of case comes up. So no one is ever forgetting a step or wasting time thinking about what to do next, and everyone will always keep up to date with these due dates, hopefully, but at least they'll be all following the same ballpark due dates and on the same page. I definitely recommend in our help center checking out the workflows feature. So just type in workflow like that, and you can go to the automated task and event workflows tutorial. We have a video here, really great to watch, along with steps to follow to really learn how to build them out yourself. And again, if you need any help building out workflows, you can always ask our support team to help out or to ask for a one-on-one training. We can definitely go ahead with our training department and help build out workflows just for you and your firm, or at least to get you started and everything. Last thing I want to cover today regarding our calendaring on PracticePanther is actually our integration with Law Toolbox. You can get automated court rule deadlines by going into your integrations page and hitting the court rules button on the bottom and getting a subscription with Law Toolbox. I definitely recommend it because they can cover pretty much every legislation that they have for the many different states and different rule sets that they offer. And what it's going to allow you to do is follow the specific guidelines provided by your area or practice area or area that you live in. Now, when you want to get this set, or after you get this set up, you can simply go into any matter that you want. So I'm going to go back and hop into my John Books Matter for estate planning. And you can hit new court rule, just like you would an event. And again, there is a whole video and article going over this, so you can always get more detail on this later on. I'll show you where to find that in a sec. But you can just go ahead and hit what rule set you want to use, what trigger you want to use, and when that trigger took place. And it'll be able to give you all the deadlines instantaneously that need to be concerned with and that you need to get done for this specific type of case in this situation. Here we have all the deadlines, and then I just go down and hit create events. But if you have any questions or you want to see more of that in detail, definitely recommend going right over here to our Help Center, Court Rules, typing that in, and we have a whole FAQ and tutorial video and article right here waiting for you. That's it for today. That was everything and anything dealing with our calendar on PracticePanther. If you have any questions at all, you can see where our Help Center is at for all your questions, anything you want to learn about and get instant information for. If you can't find whatever you're looking for in our Help Center, you need additional assistance for whatever reason, our support team is with you every step of the way right here, and we'll be happy to help you out whenever needed. That's it for today, and take care.